start my stream with a beer, because that's how classy ladies do things. Alright. Hello everyone and welcome back. It's your host Michelle, aka Chat-Mort, and thank you so much for turning once again to my humble little channel. I want to apologize for any of you who stop in later. Also, can you see my finger bleeding? I was hanging out with the stray cat that I've kind of tried to take in and socialize, and he was mad because I didn't realize it was supper time and I wasn't feeding him and was just messing around with him, so he attacked me. Not really, but I don't blame him for being irritated and puzzled. Anyway, I meant to do this stream earlier. I always feel bad when I end up streaming around the same time as the Lords of the Night, or on the nights that the Saints stream, because those are the two groups of people I watch pretty religiously. I don't like to overlap with them, but anyway, I meant to do this stream earlier and I got a little bit distracted and I had a bunch of kind of unexpected things happen, so I just wanted to do this quick while I still have the momentum. As you can see, if anyone is here to see, which might be nobody, which is fair, understandable, I decided to stream early enough in the day that I actually put a whole face of makeup on and stuff, and I did blue makeup because I was wearing my my Dib shirt. You know how in Invader Zim, Dib always wears the hideous blue t-shirt with the gray smiley face on it, except it's a totally neutral face. So I was wearing that shirt earlier. I ordered that shirt off of a website, and it's just as hideous as it was in the show when Dib wore it, and I love it. So I tried to do makeup that would fit, that would match that shirt. I was trying to go for a theme, and then I went out to get the mail because I saw it go earlier today, and something came in the mail that I was thrilled about, so I had to put that on instead. The 90mm Club merch is absolutely atrociously hideous, and I love it. I would never in my life be caught dead wearing something orange. Orange is my least favorite color, but it's somebody that I love and think is a genuinely good person, and when you spend money on Pewds' merch, some of that in an indirect way is turned around and going into these massive charitable donations he makes, and he's just a good guy. So anyway, out of all the 90mm Club merch, this was what I liked the most. This and the Zero Deaths hoodie, which I'll get eventually, but I was surprised that I got this because I didn't get a notification that it even shipped, and there was no shipping data created for it. I kept checking, so I'm shocked that I got it this recently, but it was also coming from Kentucky, and where I live, kind of the region I live, that's close to, so I guess it makes sense that I got it fast. But it's interesting that he had a warehouse of merch in Kentucky. I don't know if it's just has warehouses all over the place they stock for when they get orders, but anyway, I'll just make this really quick because I feel weird about overlapping with other people I really like. I feel bad when I do that. So yeah, I was going to tweet out about it, but I probably won't, because actually most of my fans, some of them came from Undoomed, some came from Margaret, a lot came from Lords of the Night, so I don't ever want people to feel uncomfortable, I don't want people to feel torn between watching me and watching somebody else they like. I like watching streams after they happened. I feel no loss, or I'm being a bad fan if I don't watch a stream live. I enjoy having a couple hours of content to watch later or put on in the background when I'm doing chores or I'm at work and the only one in the office, or I have my headphones in or something. So for any of you guys who are new, who are checking this out later, I just want to make it very clear that I don't ever want you to feel bad or apologetic if you didn't make it to a stream live. That does not matter to me at all. You do whatever you've got to do, you watch whatever you want to watch, and just come hang out with me later if you want some soothing background noise or are interested in the content that I'm doing or discussing. So, Hi, Nuvi. Nuvi says, the VA is horrible to work with. Sadly, these issues don't surprise me at all. Yeah, that brings me to what I did want to talk about, you guys. It's not really a spoiler. You can see exactly what I want to discuss here. But I get obsessive about OBS. I try to deselect things and I'm always selecting something else by accident. Okay, I fixed it. This is something that I've always wanted to discuss because it's really important to me, but I've never really known how to bring it up without just regurgitating the statistics that everyone has heard. I know a lot of people don't like The Blaze because it's Glenn Beck and Mark Levin's online news network, and it's Glenn Beck's website, or it was initially. But I read this article on the 16th, what was that, like Tuesday or something, on the Blaze, and I just thought I would share it with you guys because it's a perfect example of something that is a rampant issue that is horrible, and it's absolutely inexcusable when America is so, like, there's so much propaganda, or there's so much hype, I guess, around our military and around all of our military activity that there's absolutely no excuse for this to be happening as often as it happens. There's no excuse, especially as much as we try to goad people into joining the military, as much as we try to bribe people with massive monetary and educational rewards later on in life, and people go into it because it's the only way to support their families and stuff like that. The one thing that we should get right as a nation is taking care of our veterans, and we do not. Nuvi says, my friend used to work at the VA, and he said a doctor rescheduled a heart surgery so he could go on a last-minute vacation. Are you shitting me, Nuvi? That's atrocious, and I'm horrified enough to say that the more I hear about the VA, the less that surprises me. Obviously, I'm very critical of a lot of things that President Trump does, but the fact that he's trying to hold the VA accountable with his policies is very much admirable, and I think that should be of the utmost priority, more than almost any of the other issues we're having right now. So, I'm just going to read this really quick to you guys. Yeah, 3 more veterans commit suicide at VA facilities in a 5-day span. And at first I did not recognize this article because they changed the cover photo. 3 veterans took their own lives at separate Veterans Affairs facilities within a 5-day span earlier this month, putting a renewed spotlight on the high suicide rates among former service members. On April 5th, 29-year-old Gary Presley fatally shot himself in the chest while in a vehicle parked outside the Carl Vinson VA Medical Center in Dublin, Georgia, WMAZ-TV reported. Presley's mother said her son was tormented by all the devastation he saw while helping with search and rescue in Haiti after the 2010 earthquake killed roughly 250,000 people. Presley was medically discharged from the Navy in 2012 following a bad car accident, and thereafter his mother said it was just a battle with the medication, the doctors, and I watched him cry because he couldn't get the help he needed. Presley reportedly told his girlfriend he planned to take his own life in the parking lot of the Dublin VA so somebody can pay attention to what's happening so other vets do not have to go through this. But by the time his sister found out his intentions and alerted the authorities, it was too late. The next day, just 140 miles away, 68-year-old Olin Hancock shot himself outside the main entrance of Atlanta VA Medical Center in Decatur, Georgia. According to WSB-TV, Hancock had been seen pacing in the lobby of the facility right before he walked out and took his own life. A 3rd veteran committed suicide at a clinic in Austin, Texas on April 9. The unidentified victim shot himself in front of hundreds of people in the first-floor waiting room, KXAN-TV reported. Also, Chairman of the House Committee on Veterans Affairs, Mark Takano, a Democrat from California, as you can see, released a statement in response to the recent deaths, saying in part, every new instance of veteran suicide showcases a barrier to access, but with 3 incidents on VA property in just 5 days, and 6 this year alone, it's critical we do more to stop this epidemic. Takano added, all Americans have a role to play in reducing veteran suicide, and the House Committee on Veterans Affairs is going to make this issue a top priority. Which is a noble thing to say, but my initial reaction to that was it should have been a top priority already. And if the multitude of suicides these people have inflicted on themselves because the horrors and the guilt they have and the nightmares that they are reliving every night due to the things they saw and maybe were able to intervene in and maybe weren't in time, these few new people this year are not going to make a difference if this was not of the utmost priority beforehand. According to Fox News, the rate of suicide among veterans is 1.5 times higher than Americans who have not served. We lose roughly 20 veterans each day to self-inflicted death. You came back from LOTN. I don't know if you probably didn't hear my little rant earlier, but I just wanted to let you guys know, like, don't ever feel obligated to drop what you're doing to watch my stream. Like, if Lords of the Night or The Saints, for example, being my 2 favorite streams, like, if somebody else is on at the same time as me. Don't ever like feel like you have to apologize for coming back and watching my stream after it's over, you know? But thank you. It's good to see you, and I hope you're doing well. Yeah, Newbie said, I've got a lot of gripes with the VA. I don't drone on about them, lol. Or I won't drone on about them. There's a reason why I make excuses not to go. 22 vets a day commit suicide. This is an issue that, excuse me, I've wanted to talk about for a long time, and I just don't know how. I have veterans in my family, but like my dad never was in combat, I don't believe. And I don't know of anybody who actually was ever, you know, in active combat, although I do know several veterans. But it's one of those issues that there's no excuse for it not to be more of a priority. There's absolutely no excuse for these people, that we actually have all of these departments to take care of, to feel so desolately, desperately alone and terrified and miserable, and so unable to bear the physical and usually psychological torture that they're enduring, that they have to kill themselves, that they genuinely find that to be the best option, to where nothing is worth staying alive anymore, and to where they're that desperate to be out of it, for it to be over. It is absolutely inexcusable that this country that so touts its military successes and power, that so proudly, you know, espouses how great our military is, abandons our veterans to be terrified and alone in physical and excruciating mental pain, to where they legitimately think that something that is born out of the most horrible mental illness is the only solution for them to end their pain. There's absolutely no excuse for it. This is important, and take a drink for me. It is important. Thank you. I mean, I know I don't have a huge platform, but it's something that absolutely needs to be discussed more often. And it's one of those things where, yeah, Trump is trying to reform the VA drastically, but I don't believe that one president whose intentions might be good is going to be able to fix this rampant problem. It's a system-wide problem. Our government is just so bloated and corrupt and full of red tape that there's no way to truly hold everyone accountable who needs to be held accountable. There's no way. And that's one of the reasons why I think, since the government is clearly incompetent and incapable of, and more importantly, unwilling to take care of these people, we need to find ways to try to support them ourselves. It's absurd that the private sector should have to come in and try to support the military. That's one of the areas in which the government, you know, actually has an excuse to be using our resources, you know, taxpayers' resources. But that's one of those things where, as usual, private charities and organizations who donate and try to reach out to these people and provide them with the resources they so desperately need are the effective ones, are the successful ones. So I wanted to talk about this for a while. I know everybody wants to help, but it's so hard to reach out, and it's so hard to find ways to fund organizations that are trying to help veterans who feel this desperately alone in the world. And one of the organizations that I think might have actually been interviewed on Glenn Beck's show, and maybe by a couple other bigger, like, right-leaning conservative type pundits, is an organization called 22kill.com. I don't know if you guys have heard of it. Their website has changed considerably since the first time I was here, but this website was started due to the statistic, actually, that Nuvi brought up earlier. A VA report from 2012 found that an average of 22 veterans and active service members die by suicide every day. Since then, newer, more accurate research shows that the average number is 19.8. But this website and this organization was founded back when the statistic was that 22 human beings who are tasked with the greatest responsibility that our country can task you with feel so desperate and miserable and alone and terrified every day that they end their own lives. It is absolutely inexcusable. So I wanted to show you guys a little bit about this organization. I will briefly read you their history, just because I have not done extensive research on this myself, not nearly as much as I should, considering how important this is to me. But this is one of the organizations, excuse me, that is legitimate and that genuinely does effective work in trying to reach out to the individuals who desperately need this help, and they succeed at reaching out to and helping these individuals who have been abandoned by the country and by the government that has gone out of its way to convince them that there is nothing more heroic or important than serving our country in these ways that scar them so terribly. So in 2012, the Veterans Administration released a suicide data report that found an average of 22 veterans die by suicide every day. The 22 Kill initiative started in 2013 as first just a social media movement to raise awareness and later became an official 501c3 nonprofit organization. 22 Kill is committed to researching and understanding the common issues connected with suicide, including PTSD and depression, the various circumstances that they stem from, their effects on the individual, and the impact that suicide has on family, friends, and the community as a whole. Their purpose, as stated, is restore the value of life by empowering veterans, first responders, and their families. Prevention begins with awareness. This means educating ourselves and the general public, opening up the conversation, and learning to become comfortable with the uncomfortability and fear of being vulnerable. By doing this, we can identify the often avoided or unaddressed issues that can lead someone to thoughts of suicide and confront those issues as they come, rather than letting them accumulate into something much worse. The next step is empowerment. One of the biggest challenges veterans and first responders face is finding a sense of purpose after service. 22 Kill has built a vast network of organizations and resources across the country, and whether through its own programs or through external sources, veterans, first responders, and family members can find services for mental wellness and empowerment programs to help them find or rediscover that sense of purpose. The other side of this is engagement. Oftentimes, one may come to realize that all they really needed was the brotherhood and camaraderie they may have been absent from their lives since leaving service. The 22 Kill tribe allows service members to connect with like-minded individuals and gives them the opportunity to get involved with community events and projects and be a part of something great. So if you do go to this website, which I linked in the description of this video, it is possible to just go to the Get Involved tab. They have a ton of events that you can participate in and help spread the word about, and you can also become a volunteer if you want to. Excuse me, I probably shouldn't have had a beer right before I started talking vigorously because I'm all full of fizz now, and I am hiccuping. I'm sorry. What did you say, Nuvi? The government might have given up on us, but we're always there for each other. Plenty of Facebook groups looking out for them. Saw one just the other day. Someone posted I might need a call and a phone number. Within minutes, dozens of people were texting and calling her to ensure she was being taken care of, and one guy drove from another city to visit her in person. That's amazing. That's remarkable. And it's interesting because such a sense of brotherhood and camaraderie is forged in the military as a mechanism to help people have more sense of loyalty and more of a sense of belonging, to help them be more effective fighters, and to keep them in a slightly better mental state when they're going through the horrors of active service. And then you're left completely without it. You know, you go back into the world where you're very disenfranchised. You have to go back to pretending like life is this normal, happy-go-lucky thing after seeing the hellish things you may have seen in combat or whatever capacity you served in. And you go back to an extremely hostile environment where you're treated like an enemy for, you know, risking your life and everything you had to try and help other people and help your country. So that's amazing, Nuvi. I also just wanted to point out that, of course, they do include the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline number here. And, of course, they include all of the other emergency information that you may need. Call 911, and if possible, request an on-duty veteran to be sent to speak with the person in need. Of course, you need to give them the critical information and stuff. And in the event of a non-emergency, you can contact 22 Kill for resources at this number or email them at info@22kill.com. Another thing I wanted to point out, just because these always seem kind of scary and open-ended, it's just such a scary, strange, kind of shameful thing. There's such a reluctance when you actually consider calling something like a suicide or crisis hotline that I know a lot of people, even if they desperately need it, won't do it because there's sort of like a self-imposed stigma on things like that, and reaching out to a stranger feels like such a move of desperation, and it's just something that a lot of people, even if they desperately need to do it and speak with somebody, are reluctant to do. Or if you just want to support other people who are having these issues and you're not sure how to, you can actually buy merchandise from them. This is the easiest way to support 22 Kill and all of the stuff that they do as a nonprofit, all of the resources that they gather and try to deliver to veterans who are in any sort of crisis and to prevent them from ending up in crisis. I actually had one of these quite a while back, one of these rings, and I have no idea where it is. The rings are something that's especially cool to me. I think this was one of the first kinds of merchandise they actually had. You can get them in tungsten or titanium, I believe. Yeah, and I think I got a titanium one. And they have them in a whole variety of... Where are they? Will it show them to me, or am I on the wrong page? They have a whole variety of different designs you can choose from. And it really is cool. I got one with the state of Texas engraved on it, and it was like $60 some, but I was so proud to have been able to support a cause that is so good at what they do, and that is doing something so important. And I cannot find that ring anywhere. I genuinely believe I lost it somewhere because I just can't find it, and it breaks my heart. But I was still able to donate to a cause that means so much to me, as someone who I wouldn't even know where to start in order to try to financially support an organization such as this one on my own. I'm reading the chat again. The anti-gun lobby is a huge issue with veterans calling for help. Yeah. They say we're dangerous because we're damaged and we can't be trusted in society with a firearm. And it's not good, but for many that firearm is the only thing that makes us feel comfortable outside. Well, of course. Yeah. I mean, once you've been in the living hell of an active combat zone or anything like that where you might end up stationed and helping, how could you ever look at the world the same way? You never go back to feeling naive, like you truly are protected and like you can count on law enforcement or security guards or people like that to protect you. You know, even though it may not be rational to assess an everyday situation at the store or at McDonald's or something like that, or going to a family event, and to, as a result of that assessment, think that your life is in immediate danger. How are you supposed to go back to feeling safe unless you yourself are capable of defending yourself and you have resources at the ready? How are you supposed to function? You know, it's a result of a practical desire to stay alive and knowing that you have to do that on your own if you want to survive. So, yeah. Vets are afraid if they call for help, they'll lose their constitutional rights. Yeah, that is scary because it could be used against you. If anti-gun lobbyists argue that you are a suicide risk and therefore you should not have a firearm, then yeah, you lose your constitutional rights, and that's terrifying, you know? I certainly don't think that taking somebody's firearm away who's been in, you know, active duty, I don't think that's going to help their mental state any, even if they end up resorting to a firearm in the end to commit suicide or attempt it. Something that should be universally understood and that is just true is that if you are to the point where you want to end your own life, whether it's with a firearm or not, you're going to attempt it. It has nothing to do with the ease of access to those tools, although that may delay it to an extent where somebody might be able to intervene. It doesn't have anything to do with the fact that you have one single method at your disposal to do it, you know. But that's not going to stop people who are as slimy and underhanded and selfish and dishonest as like anti-gun lobbyists, for example, from trying to use that as a way to take away your rights to protect yourself. But I wanted to show you guys some of this merchandise. I'm thinking about getting some of it at some point here because it's just a great way to support them if you're not able to volunteer yourself or you're just not sure where to start. You can donate to them as well. But their merchandise is gorgeous. I love these shirts, and I'm definitely going to get one at some point. But I think my favorite thing they have are the rings. And are you able to, I don't know. I don't know how to get to where you can find the different engraved rings, because I know they have them. Let me look. Is there any other way to access them? I don't know. But they have a gorgeous variety of different engravings you can get, that you can order. Some of them are cheaper with no engraving. I know they have like a $5 just little rubber ring you can get or something like that. Come on, load. Why are you doing this? And you can get them double engraved, I think, but then it's more like $80 as opposed to $60. I don't know if it's going to cooperate. It might just not, which is unfortunate. All right, so you have to go to Rings specifically to see this stuff. But I considered getting the engraved reverse flag. But the thing is, if I was going to wear a ring like that, I was probably going to wear it on the hand to where it just didn't feel right, you know. It didn't feel like it would honor the purpose of the flag being reversed. But you can get a whole variety of them, and they're really, really cool. Yeah, oh, I was way off. If you get 2 engravings, it's $122. But yeah, I got the Texas one, and I loved it, and it breaks my heart that I can't find it. I like the Infidel one, too. It's cool, but also I don't want to get in trouble. I don't want people to get really angry at me if I'm, like, literally labeling myself as an infidel, you know, publicly. I also think the We the People one is gorgeous, but it is so much money that I probably am not going to get that one for myself, considering my track record of previously losing 100% of the merchandise I bought from these people. But I just wanted to show you guys that if you do want to help a really, really cool, reputable nonprofit organization that helps veterans who are in crisis and helps them, you know, get the help that they need when the government and the VA specifically has abandoned them and failed them so egregiously, this website is a phenomenal one to try. And yeah, I linked the article on the Blaze just talking about these 3 recent suicides and the fact that there have been so many, you know, well, in the span of 5 days, and then there have been even more in the entirety of this year, and there will be many, many more, you know, ones that are not documented and ones that actually occur at VA type facilities. Like the guy who did it there because he wanted to raise awareness about this issue, and he wanted to at least make his own death, you know, by his own hand meaningful, and that maybe it would raise enough awareness that it would get people the help they need so they don't end up in the same situation as him, which is, you know, astounding. You know, even in taking his own life, he did something heroic. That's amazing. But that's pretty much all I wanted to show you guys. This is just a very brief stream, but I just wanted to show you guys this website. It is remarkable, and if you want to help these people, there are a ton of different ways to do it. And it would be awesome if you guys could help in some way, you know, even if it's just buying merchandise. I'm very materialistic in a way. Like, I don't want to have a lot of things, and I don't want to have expensive, flashy things, but I like to have things that have much more meaning than just the physical material they're made of to me. And being able to support people like this, being able to wear something, and rings especially to me are something, you know, with almost a talisman like power to me. There's something that I like to have be particularly meaningful. So yeah, this is just a phenomenal website if you're looking for ways to volunteer with them, or just to financially support them, because they're doing really, really good work. They are coming in and helping people who desperately need it, where the government has failed them in an absolutely inexcusable, atrocious way. Sorry, I'm checking the chat again, you guys. Infidel is a blanket insult against non-Muslims. Yeah, but the word is specifically used in Islam to describe atheists. Soldiers took the term as their own. It's the American way. Yeah. And that, I mean, in some way that makes it even cooler, but I'm also kind of scared to wear it, just because of that. I mean, I live in an area, like my whole life I've gone like from rural areas to like less rural areas, but I'm mostly in like all white conservative areas. At least thus far in my life, but who knows where life will take me in the future. But I'm kind of leery about wearing that one specifically. Andrew Johnson said, "Hellish, I don't understand why with funding and support we can't help folk." I know, it's unbelievably frustrating. And you're welcome for speaking up. I mean, there has to be more that I can do, and I know a lot of bigger YouTubers have mentioned things like this, but this is a website and an organization that I think is one of the most reputable, and I wish more people would vouch for them, because they're doing something remarkable and they're doing it well. And I am probably done with my stream here. I just wanted to keep this very brief and to the point. I don't feel very good, and it's a very easy way to help with something that everyone should want to help with, and it's something that we as private citizens have to take into our own hands, since the government is incapable of doing it themselves. And there's no one who is more deserving of our help and compassion than the people who have risked their very lives and dedicated all of their faculties and resources to keeping us safe and keeping us free. There's nothing more noble and more remarkable than that. And it's just not right that these people are left, scared and alone and disenfranchised, and, with obvious, completely understandable mental issues after going through what they've been through, and they have no resources and no one to talk to about it. So thank you guys so much for watching. I know this is very, very brief compared to my normal rambly streams, but 22Kill is a really, really cool website, and one of the easiest and most fun ways to actually support these people is just to get some of their merch. Obviously, I'm not affiliated with them. I'm not in contact with them. I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that, but it's a wonderful organization, and they're doing phenomenal work to try to, God willing, someday lower this statistic. So, yeah, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching and taking a minute to consider what I have to say. Let me know, like, on here or on Twitter, or show me if you guys ever end up getting any other merchandise, or if you have any other experience or any input or information you want me to share with my platform, from being a veteran yourself, or from the stories you've heard, or just, the knowledge that you've gathered yourself. Please don't hesitate to share it with me. I'd be happy to talk about it and share it with others as well. Again, thank you guys so much. I love you dearly, and I will see you again soon. Stay safe and have a good night. Bye.